but thinks it'd still be kind of tough to actually break into EUL at this stage.
All right, let's go with our map ban to see how all of this goes. Which map we're going to go through? 6 in total. 1 is last, and Macko is going to ban, or Macko, whatever it may be. Consulate is going to be banned out with, Fedora tipping out Oregon for Villa in the end. Very technical, very well themed, I have to say. It's like taking Macko to their own home. And as you mentioned, James, they probably spent the budget of San Marino on building that entire place and running that team. So we'll see how it all goes in the cast itself. Des and Jess await us in the meantime. Let's toss it over to them for a final matchup of EUCL of this week.
Great way to end the day, I think. Jess, you and I back on the cast together once again for a Villa game of all things. And it feels, after we endured a lot of Oregon last week, we're seeing quite a bit of variety this week. And I'm loving that we get to end this on something a little bit different. I think Macko versus Fedora, one of those games that you look at and go, who to begin with? If you aren't super familiar with how Tier 2 and Tier 3 has played out for a long time, definitely won't recognize them. But Macko, as we all keep on saying, a team that looked like it's on the up with all the support that's coming from the org behind them.
Yeah, there's a lot of big things. Hit Twitter if you want to see all of those big things we are referencing. You're probably just hearing them going, what? Huh? How do I check all this stuff? Probably Twitter is the best way to go. You can find the Macko Twitter there. I don't know it off by heart, but we've got some of my ex-players alone in this. The boss. We've also got Jenna on the lineup as well. I think the biggest thing here for Macko as well is that you jump into a map like Villa. We saw them on Consulate. We saw some really good rounds there, but it came off of gun skill. We came off of, I guess, a little bit of a flurry, a little bit of a mess of their opponents. Here on Villa, there's not a lot of room for mistakes. You've got to be really clean. You've got to be really, on point. And with a double hard breach ban, maybe this would actually favor Macko in the first half at the very least. And a mirror ban as well. Well, I mean, okay, we would expect that on Villa. The last defensive ban, however, I think has to be a Valkyrie. Yes, it is. Good to see. With Echo, I guess, out of commission, he's auto-banned. I expect to see a lot of Maestro play. We know Sabos is really good, or at least used to be really good a year and a half ago on it. What's the plan for them now? Is that what they're going to rely on here for their intel, or are they also going to bring maybe some bulletproof cams into the mix?
And touching on that Valkyrie ban for a second, I was about to say this almost kind of completely goes against my point, but a good number of teams back in stage 1, we saw the Echo ban for a while, with the Valkyrie being banned away, those operators both being out of commission, wouldn't bother bringing an IQ. It would be something else coming through instead. But here, Neme is going to lock it in anyway. I think more for the shot calling aspect of it. If you get below or above on some maps, here it's more about the below play. You can still tag out a bunch of those magnets as well as ADSs, things like that from below, which can give your team a massive leg up when it comes around to execution time.
Oh, the Maestro, as I said, it's not going to be Sabos playing on it. It's going to be Tab, and we saw him do an amazing clutch in their last game on top floor of Consulate. He was playing the Wamai at the time, and this time Elation will play the Wamai instead. So it's good to see the team is quite versatile in their ability to play operators. I don't know if that comes on a map-by-map basis. You'll see a lot of teams have different players play different operators on a map-by-map basis. Maybe that's how Macko does things here. Jenner, of course, you would expect him to be playing some kind of flex operator, and that is going to be, of course, the Melusi. That's almost 100% pick rate for teams that don't have a band these days, so not a surprise. A Goyo in hand as well. A Jaeger. Good defensive lineup here. What I'm worried about, no wall denial.
I guess it's one thing to be concerned about, but when you're looking at saying, well, walls can open up, but guess what? There's a layer of shield sat behind it. It's another thing to consider when you have the Goyo Vulcan shields coming through, as well as the one coming out of the Wamai. There are options here they have to play with, and you can even see Serbos looking to set one of those up in the 90 corridor. So maybe for them it's less about the walls themselves and more about holding the area around the walls in general and looking to cause some trouble out and about of the sites. Who knows? We'll see. The lineup does lean, as you say, towards playing very defensively for the most part and playing around site. As I say, that it's Jayan and the Melusi. We've seen a hell of a lot of Melusi in the last week or so off on the roam. And Capcan, who in one of the closing rounds last week, I think walked away with an ace all for himself, strikes big in the first round.
Poor Jenna didn't even know what had hit him either. He actually got yellow pinged there, and Capcan was able to just jump through the window and have the freest pre-fire of his life. We've seen Jenna not have a really good start to CL, which is a shame, and good shots there, but I don't think he'll be able to finish him off. Elation will down him, and Hayes will clap back onto Tab, and Hayes, nice. Well, I don't even know where he's swinging in. Where is this? Is he already inside?
Looks like he's managed to get his way into a very hot position. He was a big player last week with a good number of C4 kills, clearly built and framed inside the Nordics. When the Mayor strikes big with a kill onto Elation, Sir Boss all by himself on the Goyo, surely has a C4 to play with, but you've got 3 players ringing down on you from all directions. Turns around to try and contest the ball, but guess what? You've got a player inside of the other side, 2 coming in behind you. I don't think you can win a 3-directional fight all at once, my friend.
Yeah, Hayes had somehow, some way, and I'm going to probably make the assumption it was top red stairs where he had entered, because unfortunately we weren't able to capture that part, and he must have made his way in through Aviator, possibly moved into Vault, got all of those kills on his own. The 2k there was really what gave him sight control. So the boss said, no problems, I won't peek yet, I'll see if I can get my teammates to come back and assist me. And well, it didn't look too pretty for Elation on those south stairs, but first round firmly in the hand here of Fedora. Macko now will move over to Statue and Trophy. Not going to repeat that side as it didn't favor them too much. Hopefully this site favors them a little bit more.
I don't mind trying the whole Aviator thing twice as well. Like, I actually think for many teams that is the go-to preferential site. It's where many would rather go for a second time rather than moving off to an alternative site. Evidently, they disagree. And it appears some focus is going to be piled onto this Master Wall. You mentioned about not bringing any denial last time. It's the same story here again, but rather than relying on denial from gadgets, instead what it looks like is they're turning towards those impact nades. Had 6 on side to begin with, 1 used by Jenna here. Off on the rotate, no doubt using that to open up some rotations down south. But otherwise, you're looking downstairs at the holes they've opened up in the floor at the foot of that reinforced wall, which means someone can play downstairs and just shoot hard breach gadgets off that wall once those Selmas come singing through. Thank you very much, Easy.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I do expect some impact tricking. I don't expect an underneath shot to come out unless it's late in the round, because of course you can have drones below. There might be Namia you spoke about before. The IQ will generally go above or below, and in this case the below is the play. But for the most part, Fedora are more focused on getting this bedroom and closet control to begin with. Not really going to be challenged by any of the Macko players, and rightfully so. It's an area that can be really hard to contest. And so as a result, they'll just give it up there and try and challenge by making sure this wall doesn't get opened up. I think impact tricking, you can't rely on it the whole time, so that's why they've made some of those vertical holes. But is there anyone below to be able to respond quickly enough?
Feels cheeky that you can almost red ping out all of these Legion goo mines on the way through. So as the attackers enter the building, well, it's very easy to know where they are because they've been spotted out previously by drones that have a much easier time of seeing them, given they are, of course, at the same level on the ground as them. It means they can clear them out on their push through without taking any damage from them as they move their way forward. You saw the one player up on the roam, so you even got Jenna playing downstairs here, down towards Pantry. And I'm wondering when the chance might strike to come for more of a late round flank and cause some damage, but I think it's more around that downstairs denial that we spoke about earlier on, waiting for those Selmas to come out. And there's the first one. This should be the key here for Jenna to start moving in and start contesting these, but absolutely not going to get opened up for free. And you saw that impact come out just a couple of seconds too late there.
Saboss is getting really aggro on this wall here. He uses one of his impacts to get rid of the Claymore, and now it's going to force Fedora to have to watch that door. But no one really seems concerned with it. Did they even hear that impact going off? Jenna doesn't have a C4 below, but he's got impacts and he's got these vertical holes we were speaking about before. With about 60 seconds left, Fedora loses one of their key main rotate holds there on the window. And well, as a result, it gives Elation the opportunity to move on up. I don't think they know he's this close here. And well, the drone will spot him out. And well, he wins out with that SMG. Shotgun doesn't come out quick enough. And now here, yet again, it looks like Fedora relying on those frags.
When you can find Elation stepping up and getting 2 kills inside of Astro, and the players really wanted to push in there to assist the push into Master Bedroom at the same time, and they don't have any presence there. They're left just inside of Master Bedroom as Fratelli is now. Well, you'd be forgiven for saying, well, this round looks pretty much done. There's not a lot they can do. There's still all this utility sat around. The Evil Eyes, no doubt a couple of goo mines down as well. They even step in for the final fight, but Macko have cleaned house here. Feels like Fedora could barely even get the attack put together in the first place to start executing it, let alone actually executing the attack itself.
That's a really odd one for me there because, I mean, okay, one of your Selmas gets impact tricked. Not a problem. You could possibly challenge it in multiple different ways. Maybe you want to sing a flash through or try on the hard left-hand side of the wall so that the impact doesn't really connect. But it didn't seem like that was an effort at all. And I'm not sure whether or not they just sort of gave up on the wall to begin with. They also didn't put any attention towards the bedroom wall after Saboss had impacted that Claymore. What if he had swung at the same time? I mean, there would have been multiple people taken out. it seems like they're so tunnel visioned. And when I say tunnel vision, I don't just mean singular players. Almost the entire team seems tunnel visioned.
Hopefully a tunnel that can be broken and shattered so their view opens up wide and far reaching to give them something a bit more. I agree with you that it looks a bit focused on objective only without real consideration of what the players themselves could do. I'm hoping here, given how well the first round went, how it looked like they were actually kind of a consistent team altogether, given it was pretty much a bang-on flawless round with only Sir Boss left alone inside a site by himself to try and fend off the invaders. That's what we need to see more of. More of that composure, more of that togetherness, more of the execution capability we saw in round number 1. However, it is only 2 rounds in. Give them time to shape up what they wanted to show to us, what they want to deliver here in this game. We commented on last week for both teams where at points it looked a little bit scrappy against Windstrike for Fedora. Windstrike looked like the better team. I think it's fair to say for Macko against Heretics. Heretics looked like the better tactical team or strategical team. Macko looked like they had the capability when it came down to the kills. So I think for both sides here, we do want to see them level up and show us that there is more of a dimension to their gameplay.
If you're speaking of dimension, I believe Macko have 4 C4s in hand. Not likely that they'll all be able to deploy it below, you know, from the site all the way up into bedroom. It depends how the attackers want to push. It looks like they want to do an art over a south to north push, and that's fair enough. You want to see a lot of these players trying to get library control, but Namia's already above, so surely that verticality is something they're after. Surely they don't go one-dimensional here. We've seen this fail time after time after time, which might actually make Macko's C4s a little bit not as valuable. And so this is coming down to gun kills here. Look at this, Elation. He should get a freebie, and he does.
Again.
One-dimensional, not working.
And that's the second time we've seen the opening trade coming downstairs. Admittedly, it was Capcan who found the opening kill onto Jenna last time round in round number 1. And the previous one, of course, was Elation upstairs inside of Astro. This time he strikes on the downstairs, so never seeing him too far away from the sites. He's playing in those perimeter rooms, the one that are around the site rather than actually inside it itself. And it feels like that's now the second time as well when Fedora have found themselves with someone trying to push in single-handedly without anyone to play for trades from, and are just giving away free kills when really they should be trying to hold on to those crucial members earlier on.
You can see Sabos. He's like, hey, where are the people above? I'm scanning above. No one's above. The only person above is Namir, and he wasn't even close to that scanner. In fact, if he went above, took out his cassette, and scanned that pulse, he might get a free headshot. But no upstairs presence mean that Macko have this for free. They're taking head-on, one-dimensional, one-angle fights here. And Sabos is kind of not even aware that this is exactly what's happening. Namir, somehow with 1 HP, snags Keenan. But again, this is relying on gunfights here. Macko need to read into this ASAP and probably go for some, I don't know, angle denial, some map denial. Maybe that will help them out. And this is what I'm talking about, these vertical angles. Use them to your advantage.
They've really dug in deep, and then it becomes that question of, do we really want to commit all our utility and time into taking upstairs, or do we just want to try and play for the site? You called it earlier on. You've seen so many teams get wiped out in trying to make this kind of play, though, where you ignore the upstairs. This could come back to bite them horribly. Hayes, he loves his explosives. I mentioned his C4 plays in defense last week. This week, the name is Grenades, it appears. But they've got to turn this round into a win now. Yes, it's a 4 versus 3, but that clock becomes a 6th man as we get into the final 15 seconds. As it turns red, so does the vision of the side of Macko. They can taste the defeat here. Fedora not too far away if they can just get in and find the kills coming in, but Teb and Jenna, between the two of them, find 3. Nora comes in and finds 1 for himself to bring it up to a double kill. Has 1 man left to slay, but not going to be able to find it. That's Macko winning round 3, down to the time. And this is the issue when teams leave things just a little bit too late.
Was the last player there Teb, and was he inside of, I don't even know if he was above or if he was inside of what's the word I'm thinking of? It is now 6:30 a.m. I'm slowly losing any capacity I had for callouts. Starts with M, right next to the bomb site. Come on, Des, Derry, hit me with the callout.
I'm going to leave you to dry.
You really are. You know the callout. You know what I'm saying. You know the room that I'm referring to.
Oh, what do you mean? Come on, let's play a bit of bit of Cluedo here in map callouts. Go on.
I keep wanting to say monument, but it's not. It's the word that's close to that. You are really hanging me out to dry here, buddy.
You're not on about the site room, are you?
No, the one next to it. Just there. Right there. Starts with M. No, no. Go back. Go back. Down, south. Go to the south.
Memorial room.
Yes, Memorial. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I
This
said
room.
yes, Memorial. Was he in the corner of Memorial? Because that's where it looked like the outline was in the end, and that's where he had hid. I'm not entirely sure, but that's the only point I want to make, Derry. You long-winded. I don't even know what bad word I'm allowed to say.
Not really too many words to come out of your mouth that carry much wit or intelligence, apparently, it appears at the moment. We spend 60 seconds going over a call out. All Jess can think about right now is a McDonald's waiting for her once this broadcast is finished. So let's see how this round plays out for Fedora and if they can bring us any closer to victory or if Macko can carry on with what has so far proven to be a relatively successful defense. You've got Jenna playing up on the downstairs. It's Malusi pick that we mentioned earlier on, roaming constantly this week. I think teams that have got a good couple of roamer players on side are really benefiting this week because you are seeing the Jaegers off on the go, being the roamers that they're always known to be. You're seeing sometimes the Malusi stepping out and doing the same. So you have got at least two on side that want to play off site. Those operators are the go-to roamers, it feels, whenever they're needed.
Of course, Jaeger's a 2-2 now, but he's still just as viable. In fact, I think it was a buff. So we'll see whether or not that pays dividends for Keenan. But you guess what? Elation, 50 HP.
Elation again?
He's able to hold these stairs all on his own so well. How does he do it through the concussions? It's like he's just evading death, breath after breath, and surely he gets someone here, but no, he doesn't. And whoop, Sabos says, I'll trade you this time. I was too passive last time, but I've got you this time.
Serbos does not want to end up pincered in behind the bar again in a 1 versus 4, so he'd rather contribute and bring those numbers down just ever so slightly. That is the third opening kill for Elation in a row, by the way, and Nora has been the death in 2 of those opening trades. He's absolutely on fire and does not miss those initial shots. Love to see it, and it's definitely doing a world of help for Macko here. On the other side for Fedora, they are lagging a little bit when it gets to these later stages of the round. A couple of times we've seen them down to almost nothing in drones. And that's just the cheekiest kill in the world, where Jenna can swing up into Red Hallway, take a kill and go right back to the art studio and back towards paying attention towards stairs. It's almost like it was a minor inconvenience in his day.
It really did look like it was just part of the strategy there. He goes up, swing, and a kill. Yeah, no problems, boys. I still got the C4 below. But I'm going to flank instead, because guess what? Who needs a flank drone? Oh, there we go. And surely he hip fires. No time there, but it's all up to Fratelli. He is yet another Italian player on the other side. In fact, I think the only Italian player on Fedora, going up against, what do you got? 4 Italians there and 1 Hungarian. And he's got 30 seconds left. He's hoping Sabos and Keenan peak. But I tell you what, Keenan and Sabos, they've got some game sense about them. There's no way they put themselves in a disadvantageous spot here.
That's highly complimentary of Keenan, given what I've seen him do in the UK before. I agree with you. Very experienced player, knows what he's doing here. No reason to peek, and they must know the angle that he's looking to contest here. Goes for a bit of a snapshot out to try and make it happen, and Serbos does peek out. They try and play for the trade, but it's not going to happen for them. Can Keenan keep himself alive here? It's into the 1 versus 1. It's back and forth. It's cat and mouse. Keenan down to nothing and peeks back out. That is one hell of a risk, young man, but manages to find the shot to give Macko round number 4.
Oh, and he had his back to him as well. Thank God Keenan broke his wrist and snapped around, because that round may have been a clutch one there. It started off seemingly like it would go in the favor of Fedora, especially after the first round. I was like, oh, goodness me, Macko, you're just not switched on today. What's going on? And then round after round, I think Macko have caught on to the fact that Fedora are very, and I'm going to keep saying this term because there's really nothing else you can throw at them here. They're one-dimensional. Have you seen them go underneath and open anything? Have you seen them try and vertically apply pressure either through a grenade or something? I haven't seen it, either from above or below thus far. And a map like Villa, as breachable as it is, as malleable as it is, if you don't do those things and you rely on that gunfight time after time after time, you're only going to get so far. And I think Macko have read it now.
I think the fear for me is, like, I wouldn't mind if the game plan was, forget about vertical play, let's just go and push the site. Fine. We've seen it work a few times in things like EUL, when teams have ignored trying to take over the top floor and instead just gone straight towards dining. The fear for me is that when you do things like that, you need to have it with good time left. Like, you're ignoring a whole part of the map. You are taking a shortcut, you are accepting the risk, but you know that gives you more time with which to do so. Yet in both of the last 2 rounds, it has basically come down to the clock to close things out. Sure, it has come down to kills in the last round. The prior round was down to the clock. They aren't getting any faster whilst ignoring what's going on elsewhere. So for Fedora, there's a little bit of focus lacking, I think, in the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of a round.
Jenna's had the...
Again.
Yeah, the opportunity to just sort of fleece around the map as he pleases. I don't know if this is part of the strategy. They're just going, hey, Jenna, you go where it suits, see if you can get a flank happening. Given that there was no flank drones in red, well, not red, rather the main stairs last time, I kind of give a little bit of a nod there to Jenna to say, hang on, that might actually work, doing a solo flank, because they didn't really have good drones set up last time, so maybe that's something you can really abuse here.
And he's tried to hold the same sort of spot as last time, Elation. From here, he abused the other side with a 2K coming out. Almost got a third when the shotgun came whipping out, but wasn't able to connect the shot in time before his own life was extinguished. For the side of Fedora, the intent once again appears to be coming out towards the master bedroom. So I think we're going to see someone else. I did think I saw the sledge a second ago, playing the rotate down onto the window inside of Astro. Well, not really the rotate, but looking to play that angle. That was where Elation shone last time. So I'm very, very mindful. And no, it's Nora, not Hayes. Got to be so mindful of the damage that can be done by Elation inside of that room, because he is having one hell of a game so far today.
I'm unsure if Jenna is actually being challenged below. They knew he was there last time. They had to have. Grenade sings over, and, well, it does luckily collect all of those bandit charges there. And, oh, another grenade sings over. They won't have known that they've downed him, and that C4 actually doesn't hit the distance that Sabos wants, but it does push them back a little bit. So Teb gets picked up, and now Sabos continues to play this very aggro angle onto the bedroom door. Now that the wall's open, Keenan says, well, I can use that back against you, and Capcan goes down, one of the biggest fraggers of Fedora. I think the biggest thing now for Capcan, actually, no, he got that in the top red, so I take that back. It wasn't even challenged on that particular hole. The big thing now for Fedora, Des, is they've got to open up more of this wall, give themselves access other than just Astro door from bathroom and bedroom door.
This is the problem. It's always very one-dimensional. You said it all map long, and you can still see Nora is rappelling upside down on the window. Now going to change his mind by the looks of it and look to come elsewhere, back over to join the team, and instead going through the bathroom. They have control of Master, so they know that this is safe, but is he going for the change again? Oh, man. Why? That's 25 seconds wasted, and now looking to come outside again onto Astro. They know what they've got to contest into here. And again, Jess, look at the clock. We're down to 30 seconds remaining. This isn't a lot of time to play with.
Well, they kind of have Astro control, but there's a flank drone. Once I've ever seen one here from Fedora. It spots Jenna out, and now they know he's flanking. Is he just giving enough time here? I think so. The spots come out. Free kills for Jenna. He's also got impact if he wants to throw it. He knows he's being pushed, but should that be enough delay? I think so. Elation, can he do it? He's got Keenan by his side, and yes, he can. That time delay, I think, was enough. He may not have had impact earlier in the round, but shout out to Jenna and taking that opportunity to go, even though I'm spotted, I've got to commit to this now because time is dwindling for them.
Well, this is looking painful. We all knew and all know that Villa generally is a hard map to attack. That's no secret to anybody. But, as we said in the last round, it doesn't feel like Fedora are making it any easier for themselves, Jess.
I don't want to discount Fedora either because I've been very critical of their attack, saying that they've barely been able to get walls open. They've just relied on absolutely flushing the site with players. I think some people would even criticize that as a ranked gameplay because unfortunately it is. At tier 2, at tier 1, you need to be able to, at base level, get a wall open. You need to be able to provide another line of sight that is a detriment to the defenders. At the moment, I actually think Macko are a little bit confused. They're doing all this setup. They even swapped over to the bandit because they thought, well, they're actually struggling with the wall so much. We could probably just even put bandit charges on the wall. And it didn't work out. The grenade did end up sailing over. And that was the first time I even got a fleeting, I guess, moment of feeling like, okay, this is it. We're now starting to see the attack that Fedora should have done rounds ago. But I don't know, how many Selmas did he have in his pocket in the end? It just seemed weird. It seemed strange. Doesn't make sense to me. Is it the Villa map or is it just them and their strategies?
It's almost like Macko are turning up. They've been told there's a hostage situation and they're like, right, guys, bring everything. This is a big, serious deal. And they're like, okay, cool. We'll get the choppers in, get snipers on the roof. We'll get armed military police on the ground. We're ready for war here. And then Fedora walk out with their keys clenched between their fingers like, that's my weapon. Let's go for this. And they're like, we came prepared for a war, and all you're bringing us so far is a very simple to answer setup that we aren't having too many difficulties with. And for Fedora, they aren't dealing with a number of things, right? They're not dealing with Jenna playing on the roam. They're not dealing with the multi-angle attack that we've been concerned about multiple times. Even the basic things like when attacking into Trophy and Statuary, having someone pushing up the back stairs into Astro to contest the player that plays behind the desk. Those are things that you normally see. We haven't seen it happen once. It has always been Jenna doing the counter push. Trey comes through here with Namir finding the opening kill onto Keenan, and there we go, a double kill to finally get things moving forward the side of Fedora. But it's going to take a little bit more than that because Fratelli drops elsewhere. It's a 3 versus 3, and things are as they were just a few seconds ago.
Well, it seems like Namir got fired up. Being 3 rounds deficit is something that absolutely would trigger anyone. And, you know, they want to bring some kind of comeback. It's come out of frags and, well, they've come out of just sort of 1v1 frags. And Jenna said, well, I'm going to use my C4 to be able to drop below. I feel like I'm being pressured. My job is to time delay and be able to stall them late in the round. And if that rotate allows him to do it, I'll give him that. But it's a big waste of utility. He knows he's being pressured. Look at this Mexican standoff here on red and over towards Art. Oh, they know exactly where he is. His opportunity now is to just super delay a lot of time. They've been struggling with this Fedora.
Always kind of been the game plan. They know that he's below surely as well. Does he hear them coming down? He must know. They know that he's there as well. And there we go. Nora's going to collect that kill onto Jenna for what feels like the first time in this entire map. The roam beast of Macko has been slain. Now it puts them in a 3 versus 2. And I think for the first time, Fedora maybe feel like they have a pretty significant advantage in this half. In the first round, yes, it being a flawless round, you'd argue the same thing was there. But this is the first time they've really had to sweat for it, given how well Macko played the last 3 rounds. If they can end this half at 4-2, not the worst outcome for Fedora, but I think Macko will feel cheated if they don't take at least 5 here.
Yeah, absolutely. And with upstairs almost free, it's surprising that they haven't tried to play those verticals we saw Teb play before on this site. It's all one-dimensional. I know the call out now. It's Memorial. That's the push here. Sabos still has a C4 in hand. Does Elation and well, very possibly. They could use this to their advantage. Will the attackers pinch or will it be all one-dimensional? We're about to see 25 seconds left. What is the play here from the attackers?
They've still got a C4 left on the defensive side, which they can make use of. In fact, one gets shut down. Serbos strikes upon another. Did you not see the second guy? I thought he might have them for a second. There we go. He does see him at the doorway now. Tries to spray through. Cat can put down to very low HP with the plank going down. C4's going to come out. He's not holding the angle. C4 connects. Serbos about to clutch his life out here. Nora coming in at 75 HP. Down to 33, but lands their headshot onto Serbos. So close to being a clutch, but Fedora will find that second round they've been looking for.
Why do you peek? You can hear him stuck in the Banshee. You should know exactly the positioning of that. And you know that he's not even within 4 meters of you in that particular instance. You got 5 seconds left. Peeking in that moment when time was of the essence was not the play. Not the Sabos we would expect. And well, they gift a free round there to Fedora. A round that maybe after, you know, considering that perfect C4 sailing out probably should not have been theirs. And they put themselves back into this game ever so slowly. And now maybe their attack was not their strong suit here. Maybe defense will be where they really shine here. But they've got to put these next 2 rounds on the board, I think, to really convince us of that.
It was a really slow learning, I think, for Fedora in that first half. It took them 6 rounds to finally deal with Jenna on the roam, to commit time and say, right, forget about the site for now. We need to deal with this roamer because he's been a thorn in our backside for the last 4 rounds. And I'm glad they learned that. I'm glad they adapted to it. Now we're going to have to start that learning process all over again now that things move over. Now, you and I are very, very fond of saying, let's not judge a team until we've seen how they play on either half of the map. Give them a couple of rounds once they get onto the other side and see if their defenses are any better. That's what I want to see from Fedora here. Show us that you're here to fight. Show us that Macko are not going to walk all over you in this half. And equally for Macko, show us that those 4 rounds that you successfully defended, the lessons and the strength that you've shown then can be applied to the attacking half too.
Having watched their last game, Macko on Consulate, that one when we saw some fantastic clutches, that was probably the strength of Macko was their defense, I felt. I felt like they looked a lot more confident on their defense than they did their attacks. Fraggers like Teb, for example, he popped off on defense and then had a really lackluster attacking half. I don't want to see that here because they got 2 rounds to sort of flex with here to be a little bit more, not careless, but they can be a little bit more aggressive if they want to and try and take Fedora off guard. If they can do that and play this appropriately, then they get the next 2 rounds, put themselves on match points, sweet. Otherwise, they've got a little bit of a buffer zone.
Just a little bit. I remember their game last week, actually. The first round was when Keenan stepped up and just found himself walking away with a 3K, I believe, and everyone was like, where the bloody hell did that come from? No one expected to see that out of him. Not really a player that's regarded as being a big fragger for the team back when he used to play inside in the UK, so a surprise for some. We also have Sir Boss's incredible, if you remember, 3K ITA shotgun clutch inside of the bathroom. There were a number of rounds then that were a little bit hectic that did come down to just, I think, the players themselves popping off. Can you rely on the same here today? I think you arguably could, given what we've seen out of players like Elation so far.
Well, Jenna, after playing the Malusi religiously on defense, will now be the Ash main for Macko. And I believe it'll be him and Keenan, or at least him and Teb, for example, who really need to make these entries happen. Cook some of those magnets that were persisting on the top of landing there, and well, that will give them an opportunity to get the shield, but they've invested so much towards this shield. There's also 2 ADSs that will assist and another magnet. I don't think they have enough utility to deal with this, as one of those flashes was wasted.
Keeping a very close eye on the Nomad as well, something we didn't really see be brought along by Macko in the first half to try and built by Fedora to try and deal with any roams that might come through. But Jenna, doesn't matter if it's on defense or on attack, it's going to still be at the forefront of the interruption and disruption game coming out for Macko, picking up the kill onto Hayes on the Goyo. Pretty significant one too, given there was likely a C4 hanging in the back pocket, and it's normally one of those side players that you want to see staying alive until the later stages of the round.
See, this was the verticality I wanted to see from Fedora. Now we're seeing Macko employ it here. You know, that impacts from below, they completely negate those 2 ADSs by going below. Teb shows us that he can be a fragger and he can use his utility as well. And it'll be up to Capcan to be able to hold this off here. But they're coming from every side. Walls open. This is something completely unfamiliar to Fedora here. And well, it's all up to Namia. He has to look 100 different angles at once. Less than 10 seconds left, and I've never seen so many traces come from so many different angles at once there, Des. That was a great round from Macko. And I tell you what, I think the big difference there was that there was a multi-layered attack. It wasn't just one-dimensional. I felt it everywhere.
You felt the crumbling on the side of Fedora, as well as things just kept going wrong with the guy being picked off first and then the attention being divided between those multi-angles of attack. It does break teams down, and I always touch on it as well. It's something I love thinking, and you see it sometimes in teams' comms videos where they'll count down and execute, knowing full well that as soon as you burst in with any kind of pace, the other team cannot react. They are all like, guys, pushing there, pushing there. Oh, what's going on? Oh, we're all dead. Great. Like, what the hell just happened? And being calm under pressure, if you can create that pressure on the other side, they don't know how to deal with it. They are going to crumble. And that's often why you see things like flawless rounds just fall by the wayside, because in most cases, you would assume all things being equal, you would lose a couple of those gunfights. But the pressure can sometimes just be far too much to deal with. We are going to try the same site once again. Given how that first one just went with it being a flawless round, I'm hoping, or there's at least guaranteed here, to be some form of improvement for Fedora.
I didn't even spot that the Ace had been able to open up that aviator wall either, and I don't know whether or not there was any wall denial there. This time we've got the Kaid charges, and those electric claws will serve a huge purpose here in denying that getting open by Sabos. The only way I can guess that they're going to deal with this, rather than sing a grenade over the top, which is a little dangerous when you don't know how many ADSs you're working with, is just send Teb below again. Send him below, get an impact, see if you can spot out that electric claw and get those walls open in the first minute and a half. And well, that's going to set themselves at a good pace yet again. But Fedora, they're going to go with almost exactly the same setup here.
I always feel like electrifying walls against Macko, given how well they executed in the last round, is like trying to put barbed wire in front of a tank. They're just going to run over it. They don't care. They're going to steamroll the site. They're going to steamroll you. Doesn't matter what you try and put up in front of them. But Macko is still going to stick to the rules, stick to the procedures, clear out the top side of the map first to make sure there's no funny business with Elation, laying down those air jabs behind them as they go to make sure there's no funny business, and no one on the side of Fedora is going to come and clap them later on in the round.
I hope, and it does look like Teb's set up to go below again. Are they going to put a little bit of, I guess, attention towards Teb, because he's done a lot of damage from below? Even one impact in a really key spot on this particular site can do worlds of hurt. They need to ensure that he is not doing that damage below. Even a little bit of challenge would be enough to put Teb back, forced that round to be delayed more than it was. It came down to the last 8 seconds last round. Even if you delay 10 seconds, that could be huge here.
I mean, against Macko and the pace at which they've moved, not sure it's really going to help too much. It depends how long they can hold out for, though, because if Nemea are out here with the smoke, it's always that kind of question of, do you want to start burning through smoke grenades earlier on to waste more time, or do you want to save it for the late stages of the round when it can literally win or lose you a round based on the planter being able to stick the plant or even get into sight in the first place? For now, he is going to pull back, so absolutely not the plan. It was more just holding back and trying to see, I think, if he could catch any drones as they tried to get themselves safely around that corner into 90. But look from Macko. Quite a lot of focus on the downstairs here. A couple of members pushing downstairs, trying to make sure it's all cleared out. Curious as to why drones weren't used for this purpose, but clearly the intent is going to be those south stairs here or some vertical play. As to say it, Teb blows open the floor, ready to look towards that default plant spot behind the vault door.
He gets the shield for free. None of those magnets or ADSs do their job at all because, well, quite frankly, from below they can't. Hayes loses a lot of his life there from that particular Goyo shield. I believe that was dealt with from below as well. And as a result here, well, all they're missing now is the key ingredient of the wall. They won't get it because one of those grenades will be eaten by a magnet. And now what they're hoping is that they can get it the second time. Has that gone too far? No, it hasn't. Wall gets open. Here we go. But now we're down to 20 seconds and Noah kicks things off with a double kill.
Didn't even know he was coming across there. So focused on the smoke being down, the wall being opened up. They didn't even look to the left for a brief second. Admittedly, no one else supporting them from those south stairs is always going to bite you back pretty hard. And here he is coming in for desserts, I think, as Teb is standing on the doorway, looks to the left and wins that gunfight against Nora. What a great couple of weeks he's had so far. 2 versus 2, 3 seconds to go. Teb finds one and he's in behind the default plant spot. Can he find the kill? Yes, he can. What a play from Teb. And if Nora, again, the small things in these games make them so interesting. If Nora had won that gunfight, this round was done. It would have been going the way of Fedora, but Teb with the hero play, a 3K from Study Door.
That round simply should not have been Macko's. In no way, shape, or form do you get down to the last 2 seconds. Both of the study players are dead, and it comes all into that one-dimensional push from red stairs to keep the play alive. Wow, wow, wow. That was really cool. To be so trusting that your teammate can cap things off and hold you as you get a plant. And mind you, it's a 7 full second defuse. That's huge. That kind of trust is awesome. Teb did a really smashing job there. Had he have missed even 1 or 2 of those bullets, they could have quickly ran across his line of sight and just denied the plant. Whew.
A good one to look back on next week, I think. And absolutely, now that I've said it out loud to myself, that is going to have to be one of our top 5, I think.
Oh, yes. If anyone is listening, especially our co-casters and colleagues and everything, please throw that into one of the top 5. Mate, that was really cool.
I'm sure Dev right now is completely disillusioned with life, given it's, I think, 7 a.m. for him right now and for you guys over there.
Oh,
for
it's
us,
7 a.m.
Admittedly, it's not too bad for us. It's 10 p.m. right now here. That's a comfortable time for EU. But for you guys, my sympathies go out. That's all I'll say.
3 days a week where I watch the sun rise. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. You gotta find the silver lining somewhere, some way. And, well, Fedora here, they're looking down the barrel of a gun quite figuratively here. Macko are on match point. They're also on draw point. So what Fedora needs to do is win the next 4 rounds in a row to even secure 1 point for this match. If Macko win any of the next 3, well, they're going to give themselves 3 points. And Macko only walking away with 1 last matchup means these are very integral points for them, especially in their group.
I totally did not just leave the Discord voice chat, by the way, whilst trying to find that highlights channel to make sure it was noted down.
I wondered if that was you. I was like, oh, someone just left. I was like, okay.
It was me, clearly fat fingering as I go along. But hey, it's all good. We're back. We're ready for round number 9. And as you can see at the top of your screens, Macko at this point have dominated Fedora so far. Really impressive defenses. Their attacks have looked almost sublime. Admittedly, Teb being the hero player in that last round with the 3K, but it's still a win no matter which way you dissect it. We'll see if they can close things out here at 7-2 and remind us, or at least show us, that last week's close game against Heretics was a bit of a bump on the journey, a bit of a speed bump, should we say. It's not a permanent show of how things are going to play out for them in future. We've got Capcan looking to play on Astro stairs and supporting the player on the upstairs. This is kind of what we saw coming out of Nemea back in the last half. Sorry, out of Jenna back in the first half in playing this bottom of stairs sort of play, looking to cover out towards Red Hallway and then flanking up when required a little bit later on. So I like they're taking a bit of learnings there themselves and just trying to make sure nothing about of Astro is open to the attackers to come through unless they go through the players first.
Oh, I like this. I don't think this hits directly onto the shield. I could be wrong. I think it's a little bit shallow on that one, particularly above. But yeah, it is. Especially on that shield. It's quite close to the wall, so we won't get it. But that's okay. I can see the intent there. And well, now they know that Capcan is playing bottom Astro. Does the R4C win out? Yes, it does. And that's a good headshot onto Capcan there. And a bad start here for Fedora on a round they must win.
All that generally saying, that's my stairs, my Astro stairs, and no one else is allowed to be there. Down he goes on Capcan's side. And now so you can get control of the rest of it. Tries to fire the breaching charge up by the looks of it. In fact, no, it was the air jab, which gets eaten up by one of those magnets. The second one comes through and is now placed on the bathroom doorway. So that rotation is sealed off and the attacker should be able to make something happen. What I am slightly mindful of here as well is only a couple of drones out in the field for Macko. Not too much in the way of information other than taking these angles. And Keenan going to strike big. Boss even there, ready and waiting to see if Fratelli was going to run out from behind his hidey hole. The answer being absolutely not. 4 versus 3, and Macko could close this out here, Jess.
Oh, what a shame. It looks like this is all on the last 2 players. Hayes, Namia, nowhere. A very hurt Namia, I should say. And well, with 20 seconds left, it looks like, oh, it might be the Jaeger to be able to cap things out, but a trade back from Keenan. He's had a great game here. Can he win this gunfight? He's going big, he's going large, but no, Pokemon. It looks like Keenan will go down, and it's all up to Saboss. He can't put the kills on the board that they need, and these last second executes are dire here for Macko. This is what is losing them these rounds, which would otherwise be won by them.
I think that's kind of plagued both teams on this map. The sheer scale of the map, the amount of tasks that need doing, dealing with the roamers playing downstairs, dealing with the setups coming through, the vertical play, if it's an element to that side as well. There's a lot of things to do, and that clock is definitely being expended. However, you do still have to ask the question of, a bit of pace, I think, is available here. There is a little bit of slack, which they can tighten and make use of to give themselves an extra 15, 20 seconds when it comes around to execution time. For the first time in this half, we're heading down into dining and kitchen. We have seen 2 rounds of Aviator, 1 of Trophy. Fedora not having a very successful time in Aviator, I'm pretty sure are dying to not return there. But if they win this round, that will be the site they have to go and play. Given the track record, that could be where Macko takes it.
Capcan has said this time, it's the shotty. Time to pull out the shotty, boys. And when you're on a kill deficit, as Capcan is, and I think that's an unusual place for him to sit. I think he's quite used to being able to frag out and do so quite confidently for his team. When you're in such a deficit on your KD like that, you can start to get a little panicky, a little desperate. And I'm wondering whether or not this is a desperate operator pick or whether this is part of the strategy. Given what we've seen from them before in their top floor holds, I haven't seen this from him. So I think this might be a little bit of desperate play coming out, and whether or not he's hoping his aggression can just stall Macko out and get those free kills. We'll have to see. I want to see how Macko push this. I'm absolutely certain they take top floor, given how they take underneath on other sides. If they don't, how do they play it?
Admittedly, we have seen a few other players historically playing with the Titan killer shotgun, as we call it in the UK. I think that was first coined by Demo, or believe it or not. It does a lot of damage when people come running at you, given the rate of fire that it's got and how much damage it does. It can be absolutely lethal. That's kind of the whole point of a gun, I guess. But more the amount of damage you can do is you have 2 or 3 players trying to push towards you. That's what we're looking out for here for Capcan. Speaking of, it's interesting looking at the stats from last week. He was 14 and 10 last week on KD. He was the top fragger for the team, the only player on a +2 KD across the whole game actually as well. Whereas Nora was the one that's sitting down towards the bottom. This week it's been Jenna that's been the hero player for them. Or at least on the side of Macko, that is, sorry. But looking towards Team Fedora, Nora has said is the one being quiet. He was 6 and 10. This is what happens when you're looking between stats and the screen at the same time, you see. But I think between them, there's been a bit of a flick of roles, and without Capcan on side, Fedora are lacking a little bit. And I wonder if that's something we will see restored in future. Fratelli finds one, instantly traded back out by Keenan straight after. But this isn't really for the site right here. This is more for control of the top floor.
Elation could hear that shotgun going off below, and if he challenges this, he needs a long angle to do it because there's going to be Namia below. He wants to rain a C4 out, and Hayes, what a wild jump out from Pantry, and well, he gets a freebie onto Elation there. I think some of those air jabbers already been deployed, but this is a huge hit to Macko here. When I said that they were getting desperate and they wanted aggression, they're giving it here right now. They're fighting back. They want back into this game, Des, and well, if they want to do it, they're going to have to cap this round here and get that momentum going.
even with the time on side as well here. Let's not forget that Teb is alive. We've seen what he can do last week and this week so far, just a couple of rounds back. We'll see if he can find anything. A C4 coming out almost connects onto him, but it's not quite enough to finish him off. The problem again is this is the upstairs attack. This is not the actual site execute itself. He drops down. Hayes had that cardiac scanner out. He knows that he's here. He knows that he's pushing through, and Teb is about to walk into certain death if he dares push far forwards. Here we go, stepping around the corner. Out comes the cardiac sensor again. Teb wins those every single time. This guy's an absolute beast, but can he find any more? The drone, the only drone left, comes out the back pocket. It's immediately shot out, and Capcan's in front of his face. We spoke around the shotgun. It's a critical kill to come out. It's all down to Surboss. He's been around this site before. He failed the 1v3 last time. Is the 1v2 whilst he's on the attacking side a much more balanced affair for him? Walk straight at first into one of those the mines coming out of Ella, sorry. Nothing much more to say about that. Gonna have to back away. 20 seconds to go. First smoke comes out. He's got to try and force the fight here, but I'm concerned that he quite simply has not got enough time left. 10 seconds, he's got to kill or plant, and the defenders can very safely back away. Goes to reload and finds one. One ball's close up, and Capcan with a shotgun, second of the round, steps in and keeps Fedora's dreams alive.
Well, that aggressive play has worked out for them here on defense. I think they let Macko walk all over them a little bit. And even that almost instantaneous trade by Keenan made me certain that they could probably bring this round back. But looks like Fedora, they're not giving up just yet. Only 2 rounds between them and a draw now. And, oh, they've edged it back ever so slightly round after round. But it's coming down to these sort of 1v2s, 2v2s at the end. And it's where time is really the one that's putting Macko in the disadvantageous spot here. So I think for Macko, they've got to turn around and say to each other, okay, they're starting to fight fire with fire here. They're getting desperate. They're playing super aggressive. How do we deal with this? Do we get our better drones, which I think has been a big weakness, and you pointed this out as well, is that some of the fraggers have been droning themselves, which is probably inappropriate when people can move. You know what I mean? You drone them, they move, you're off the drone, they don't know where they are at that singular second, and all of a sudden you're dying to an angle you didn't think they would be holding. So one thing I want to see from Macko here on attack, better droning for your fraggers, because they are your key entry players.
What I love actually about that, and on the whole subject of droning, is there's a guy called Tristan who I've mentioned to you many times on Twitter. Earlier on, he went off pretty hard around Penta's first game of the day when they came up against August and said, you know, how can Penta be in a spot where against the Mutant and Mozzie they still have 7 drones left alive after a minute, and every single one of them is giving them information out on the field. Yet when it was August on the attack, they were losing all of their drones inside 80 seconds at the start of the round. And he said this sounds quite harsh, but he basically said, if you want to be a ranked gunner, comp isn't for you. Like, you need to be able to drone. You need to be able to pass information and use your drones properly. If your whole goal is get your IGL to drone you in and tell you where to go and click heads, you are never going to succeed as a team. And that is the kind of thing that I think a lot of teams, even here in CL, need to get right, is that drone game, that it is a collective effort. It's not down to 1 or 2 players. All of you have a responsibility to get those drones out, collect the information, and make calls back and forth across the team.
It's brutal that you say that, but there's some players that have that ideology who almost live year after year in Challenger League and never go further. And that is a brutal statement to say, and they know exactly who they are. But those type of players are ones that never progress further as a player. They never become the versatile, holistic players that Tier 1 teams need them to be. And if they do get picked up, well, they're not on the team for very long. So it's a shame that we have players that can't keep up with what is needed. And, well, Hayes barely gets away with his life there as that window gets shot open. And that's the kind of opportunity there where a yellow ping might have worked really well. Let's say they had a drone come in through connector drone hole there, and they were able to get a yellow ping onto him. They might have been able to just shoot straight through the barricade, free kill. So it's these drones from Macko that I think maybe, see, they're again droning for themselves. Get the support players to do it, just even initially.
I think in the case here, when they're so isolated from the rest of the team, you've got both the Ash and the Zofia playing on the downstairs here, looking to cause trouble, and initially playing around that 90 window, eventually dropping off when the C4 came out. The focus comes in elsewhere for the others who look to be doing the work, I think, and that's maybe why they're trying to turn things away, but not really the ideal peak to go for there, I'm afraid, Jenna. Capcan more than happy to peek aggressively over a shield, definitely putting himself on the line to go for a kill, but either way, nets it. That's the Ash down and out. That'll be less gadgets available to deal with those shields, and given there is a Jaeger and a Wamai in the field, that's a lot of utility you got to burn through. A complete little white screen comes out for Fratelli, and Teb more than happy to step round and collect another kill. Traded back out by Nora. It is back and forth constantly between these two teams, all over the entirety of Villa, and for such a big map, we're normally quite used to seeing kills taking place around the site. What is this absolute madness that's unfolding before us?
Yeah, these back and forth frags, it shows me that here for Fedora, they've worked out what works here against Macko. They're adapting back towards them, and Macko now, the answer needs to be to adapt back to the newfound aggression that Fedora are employing. It seems like Keenan, I don't know, he's, good shot onto the C4 there, and good read into the situation that he would be swung, but he's down to a 1v5, 1v4 rather, but a good swing out there, and I think Fedora finally figured it out, is that they were giving Macko a lot of the map, a lot of the ability to pry the site open or pry it open, and now they're just meeting them where they enter.
Real hard one for Macko, given everything they seem to have tried in the last few rounds has just completely gone against them. 6 and 5, they have one last chance to get this right. Aviator Games then was that side that I said, after we go through Trophy and we go through the downstairs site, we would see them return to Aviator Games, and Macko, having won it twice, would just go on to completely take them to the cleaners on it. They didn't do that. They've now won all 3 sites and have the choice, well, not really a choice, they have to go back to Trophy and Statue that we saw them win out earlier on relatively comfortably. So here, I think for Macko, you're sweating a little bit. You're pulling at that collar, you're getting some air down your shirt, like, come on, boys, we've got to be able to do this now. Pull it out here. It's now or never. Let's not throw this game away after we had such a solid first half.
I think for Macko, they're going to be absolutely sweating bullets now because, okay, a lot of people would say, oh, they're choking, but no, that's not how it is, because imagine we had seen the defense for Fedora on the first half. Maybe they would have pulled all of these rounds together to begin with, and then we would have seen a comeback from the defensive side of Macko. It's Villa. We expect defensive-sidedness here of these teams, and that's exactly what Fedora are displaying. Now what we need from Macko is just one even semi-confident attacking round to secure them the win. It's match point for them. It's draw point for Fedora. Who pulls it out here? Because no matter which way this round goes, this match is over.
The roadblocks are starting to reappear once again, these walls being electrified up. Last time around, it came down to a wonderful grenade from the other side. If you remember back, I think I can't remember which round it was now. It was a good 5 or 6 rounds ago. The magical grenade that came over and killed all 3 bandit charges on the other side. And a subsequent grenade then managed to down one of the players on the other side too. So we have seen this wall dealt with relatively comfortably, but I'm just curious if without an IQ here, will they be able to clear away that electro claw with ease, or is it going to give them quite a problem?
You can see this aggression. It's already being placed over towards 90. They want to know exactly where Macko are entering, and it looks like it's going to be a 5-man bedroom push. I think focusing on their strengths is the right thing to do. Focusing on getting that wall is absolutely what I would be doing if I was Macko here on match point, on draw point. I'd be saying, okay, boys, focus on what we're good at. We're really good at getting those walls open, on making sure that we take really advantageous angles. Let's not stoop to the Fedora way of just going for those gunfights, because quite frankly, Fedora have some really, really tough gunners. And so they need to be playing their strengths, and that's looking like how this round will go.
Kin doing all the right things here, initially trying to peek out onto the Mayor, who is indeed behind a shield, so sadly no peek is going to work. He's also stacked up behind a couple of ADSs and has the magnets of the Wamai downstairs. If you can see Capcan hovering around, can always throw them up through the hatch above his head to help provide support to the smoke player. So it is coming down to that time-wasting game. It is, of course, the perimeter rune to the site itself. There we go. One of the ADSs has been burnt through here with a bit of help with Elation, bringing out the air jabs, I think, to assist in that one. He has gone through all of his grenades already, and by the looks of it, Jenna right now isn't in place to assist. So that ADS will live, and Nemea will be unable to be unseated.
Not sure if that was an impact that rained out. I think it was there from Hayes. And, well, Sabosh surely has more Selmas to work with here. In fact, he's got 2 and Elation. He's getting smoked out on the rappel. That's going to hurt him a lot there. But he's in a really power position. He's got to keep this rappel. Well, if the smoke is abating him, that's okay. There's another 60 seconds left, and it's going to abate him again. But if he wastes those smokes, it means that his attackers won't have to run through it themselves. The roamers below, will they have impact, or will they be too late to the party as the execute gets off? Last smoke deployed. Oh no, did you hear him drop below? No, you didn't. And look, looks like he's going to get flanked straight back.
Beautiful as well. I knew, of course, the Wamaya died below. Couldn't stay upstairs because no more magnets to be able to assist with the gadgets coming out once that ADS had expired, and manages to connect the kill. But Teb, always been the miracle worker in this matchup, it feels like, for Macko. On 12 kills so far, steps up and finds himself another kill here to balance things back onto Nemea. It's a 4 versus 3. The thing is, Jess, it's the time. I'm always so worried about the goddamn time. We've got 10 seconds to go. They've got to do everything now or never, and a single mistake here is going to cost them big time. The members of Fedora waiting. C4 sings out, catches onto one. Keenan goes down. Serboss going in for the plant. He's in the back corner. They can't strike him. He's even getting shot through the woodwork. Nora connects, and Serboss has got to get up here, get his gun to the ready, and start firing back. Instead, he's staying on the ground. Pistol at the ready. Goes for one. Can't win it out. It's a 1 versus 1. It comes down to everything here. Can Fratelli and Relation, both on low HP, come out on top? Fratelli looking over one way. Elation, the other, knows that he's got to go for this defuse. Elation has got the advantage here. All he's waiting for is time. Fratelli is not even sticking the defuse. Surely the opportunity comes in, sees him inside of Astro. Macko collect the final kill, and of course the game would come down to a 1v1 to decide it, but Macko walk away the victors. They get the win on their record. It's not going to be a draw today, I'm afraid, boys.
A hard-fought comeback there for Fedora, but looks like Macko, they could capitalize. They could walk away with that win. That looked like it was teetering on the edge round after round after round. They had the better tactics here today, and they'll walk away with a 7-5. 12 kills apiece for 2 of the fraggers of Macko there. And Noah, well, he had a good game as well alongside Nemea, but not enough. Some of those key fraggers there for Fedora, not able to put the thorn in the side of Macko. And the first win there, the first set of 3 points for Macko, but none for Fedora.
I've always been advised to keep an eye out for Nora being a bit of a French beast. Not quite Shaiko, but on the way to becoming a Shaiko player. So I'm glad to see that he has stepped up today. But Teb, got to give the guy a shout out. So much of today came down to him. A couple of rounds quite single-handedly won by him, and the impact that he had. Really good stuff, albeit once again a ridiculously close fixture. Let's go over to our Desto to go and close out the show and also share their thoughts on this match.
Thank you so much, Jessichu. Yes, we are back.